Slate House. This is a development by Lucent, and they are the developers that did Nightingale Brunswick East. That's CHC and Breathe doing the interiors. They also helped with the village. They were pretty integral to getting the construction contract negotiated, and they also helped problem solve some of the disputes with neighbours and boundary things. So they were pretty integral to that, and they also helped with the construction contract at Nightingale Anston as well. And they came to us when Mark and I were finishing off Terrace House and neck deep in Park Life, and said, we need to do something about millennial Southside refugees. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? So they were saying that, look, they felt that people were heading north, not because it was a better place to live, but simply because it was cheaper. And in the process of, generation of people moving that way,
it is better.
and my presentation's but in the process of moving, they're leaving behind their friends, families, and their support networks. So the Lucent guys were saying, let's try and take all the learnings from what we were doing up north and bring it down south and see how it plays out in a more conservative market. So minimum 7.5 stars, all electric, fossil fuel free, and the rest. And big homes, like family-sized homes, not shitty little apartments. And we were all, as a team, just wanted to get away from the white boxes that could land anywhere. I hope none of you designed it.
Thanks for asking.
I didn't check. Really great site that's just 5 minutes from Church Street and just a stroll down to the beach, and there's green spaces and everything. So really pedestrian friendly, and also Middle Brighton train station is a 4-minute stroll from the site, and there's plenty of buses in the area. Taken in 2009, this aerial shows predominantly you've got slate and tile hip roofs throughout the area, but since that point, there's just been this erasure throughout the area, and there's just been all these spaceships landed with these big concrete boxes, which of course has council and the neighbours all a bit up in arms, because there is incredible heritage places all through that area, which we looked into in depth. But right on our doorstep, so our site's there, Ronan's beautiful slate building. Right next door is one of the oldest brick buildings in Brighton, and one of the highest levels of heritage classification. So that was right, basically to our north. And then just on the other corner, the Church of Christ. And we went to council saying, we're not going to do box architecture and wedding cakes, but what we don't want to do is have a chat about the appropriateness of bigness. Because we just sort of showed them, yes, you do have a lot of smaller homes in this area, and there's this tension with these developments, but what already exists is these big community spaces and churches around the area that have a bigger scale. That is that already exists, that scale there, so we shouldn't have to have an argument about removing one house and replacing it with 14 homes. So we maxed out the height we could go to. We trimmed it back to deal with visual bulk and shadows. We cut 2 circulation lines across the building so we could get full width apartments open at both ends instead of a central corridor. We added, detail to break down so it looked like an accretion of buildings, and cut out balconies and the rest from the form, and then clad it in slate. 14 homes, and 6 of those 3-bedders. We got 8.2 stars, all electric, fossil fuel free. We built primarily timber frame as well, so there's a lot less carbon in the concrete there. Embedded energy network delivering 100% renewables. We weren't even sure if that market was really that interested in these serious projects, but they really snapped it up. And so there it is. That idea of an accretion of similar scale forms to create the architecture. The bagging of the brick, bit of a nod to the great 50s, 60s, 70s houses in the area, but then the tile and the slate obviously going back to previous eras. And also working really hard with, this is a for-profit development, working really hard with the developers to talk about the benefit of not using a shitload of colour bond flashing and actually using some of the traditional ways of tiling. And then so that's Mail Street, busy street. You come around the corner to Bleasby, and that's quiet, dead-end street. And so the main entry into the building is actually off this pedestrian entry that services all the apartments. And then where we have those two corridor spaces, we've actually brought the cladding inside. So inside and outside, where there's lots of natural light in there, so you don't have one of those embedded, artificially lit corridors. And then the entry, each entry has the light and then this little bench, so you could actually you can put somebody's mail or a package there, you pick it up for your neighbours. 3 of the homes actually come straight in off the street, so you don't have to go through the main circulation space, and the rest of them come off Bleasby and divide up through those really bright corridor spaces, naturally lit. Heaps of borrowed landscape, and we've set it back so we can get lots of those outdoor terraces, getting lots of sunlight coming in at the north there. And we've opened those corridors up so it's, people can drag a chair out there and have a cup of tea with their neighbour without actually directly taking them inside their house. And then you can see, that's 6, I think.
Yeah, you've got to.
And you can see this is set up, the ability to have these full-length living spaces that can naturally ventilate as well, right through each home. And none of the bedrooms open directly onto a living space. So these are long-term, family homes. They're not just a step to, saving up and trying to buy something else. Apart from those 2 homes where they're really spillover spaces, they're extra living space or a study space that you can use as a guest bedroom. Similar plan on the 2nd level, and then on the 3rd level we've got these 2 whoppers, the penthouses, which the developer sold at premium prices to help subsidise some of those other houses. So big 2-bedders start at 1.2 mil, which is a lot of money, but if you're trying to stay near your parents in Brighton, that's actually a really cheap price. And then low VOC materials throughout, ethically sourced materials and timber, mirrored splashback to reflect the gardens that are outside, so always playing with the illusion of space and light. Double glazing, thermally broken frames. And just, really beautiful. It was actually a house builder. This was their first multi-res, so they brought all of that sort of detail that you expect from a house into the building. And then the upper levels, those beautiful high cathedral ceilings and, just grabbing little glimpses of the borrowed landscape in the area. And, the view across the suburbs and the spires in the distance. And that is Slate House.